Hello everybody, hope you all had a huge, happy human holiday at the weekend there. You want to talk about a resurrection? This man here was resurrected on the Sunday with nothing more than Papa John's vegan pizza. Had more than a skinful on the Saturday night, shall we say, as did many others, as I'm sure you've already seen. Spunked all over social media feeds were the scenes from the Meadows here in Fair Edinburgh, as many youngsters donned their finest tracksuit bottoms and low-cut tops, armed with MD 2020 and canisters of nitrous oxide, and descended on the Edinburgh beauty spot for a gathering that would make the most hardcore of transmit goers a wee bit nervous. Now, as a person who has worked in the hospitality sector for over 7 years, I'll be the first to tell you that sunshine and alcohol always ends in tears. In fact, anyone with a brain could tell you that. Not to mention that everyone's been cooped up for over a year staring at walls, being told to obey rules by so-called leaders, the same rules that these same so-called leaders themselves refuse to follow. So, Saturday was, without a doubt, the perfect storm. I walked through the Meadows on Saturday and witnessed the scenes firsthand, and if I'm being honest, it was probably the closest thing to a safari that I've been on in a long time. It was pretty mental, and I can absolutely see how some people would feel unsafe walking through that, and I am in no way condoning the behaviour of the wee sprogs, but I can understand why they act the way they do. They are all a product of their environment, and I can understand that because I'm a product of that exact same environment, just like a huge percent of the country are products of that exact same said environment. We as a culture revolve around alcohol, and from a very young age we are all exposed to it, from family functions, weddings, birthdays, funerals. It's everywhere. You ever been to a get together where there's no peeve? People lose their fucking minds, and God forbid someone offers you a drink and you decline, reciting the same line that many of us have uttered in the past at least once or twice: I'm off it. They can't believe it. It almost ruins their night that someone in their company isn't taking a drink. And this exposure imprints on all of us as a culture, and in some cases it's more drastic. You might have grown up in a household where alcohol or drugs were abused, and if you were lucky enough you could get away with it, but sadly, more often than not, the apple doesn't fall that far from the tree. You've got a bunch of teenagers with fuck all to do, even outside COVID. They've got all these hormones that they didn't ken how to handle. Throw some bevy in there with a wee bit of sunshine into the mix. The scenes at the Meadows really shouldn't have come as a surprise to anybody. It did kind of blow my mind just how bold they were though. I saw a lad, he must have been no older than 14, and he was just chugging away at a can of dragon soup, not 10 yards away from the busies. Now, I have been critical of lads and lassies in the old high-vis jackets in the past, but they were up against it on Saturday, man. They were up against it. That was a losing battle. The only way to disperse in that crowd was chucking on the riot gear and going to town on them, or a runny carpet bombing. That would ruin the grass though. When we were that age, we kept ourselves out of sight and out of mind, man. Often in like secluded woodland areas or that. And as soon as the blues and twos turned up, we were off like a shot. Just getting taken home by the police was embarrassing enough, like. I'll hold my hands up and say that I've fractured the occasional law in my youth, like. But I never went about bottling cunts. The violence is the only thing that I didn't understand. I never have. I'm not a violent person. I'm not even going to pretend to try and analyse it. All I can say is that anyone who was injured on Saturday is doing well, and they, of course, make a speedy recovery. Now, there was a majority of folk who were sat in the Meadows who were very sensible, picking up after a litter and, in general, not acting like a fucking rocket. And I have to give big kudos to all the volunteers who went in the aftermath to go and help clean up the place. These green spaces should be for everyone, and only if we come together as a culture and as a community can we make that happen, by educating and communicating, not dividing and ostracising, and maybe didn't get blackout drunk in front of your bairns. Just a thought. But at least the pubs are opening soon, and then they all become the problem of folk like me. I'm big enough and ugly enough, I've done it for a long time. I'm used to it by this stage. You ruined my fucking night. I don't care. Mind what I was saying about this culture revolving around bevy, right? My work is opening up on the 26th, right? We are fully booked for a month.
A fucking month.
Don't get me wrong, I am more than buzzing about going back to work. I honestly don't think I've spent this amount of time sitting on my ass waiting for the phone to ring, and I've been an actor for the best part of 10 years. But I am fully prepared for it to be a complete sideways shit show, which leads me on to my next point. See when the pubs reopen and you go down to your favourite boozer that you've no been to in ages, and you're greeted by a masked employee of your favourite establishment and they talk you through the rules, please fucking follow them. Far too many of us have lost our jobs already, and so much is on the line again. If cases spike, the pubs are going to be the first on the chopping block again. Again, it's pure shite, but you can only piss with the dick you've got. But never fear, your friendly neighbourhood bar manager Gav is here to hold your hand and talk you through some of the rules, okay? If the venue is fully booked, but you see an empty table, that table is still booked, and no, you cannot sit there. No, you cannot push tables together. If you approach the venue while smoking a cigarette, then say you don't have a mask because you have asthma, you will be politely told to fuck right off. You are not funny when you order a Corona, but hold the virus. We don't care if you want to chat to the pretty girls at table 3. Please remain seated at your table or we will break your fucking legs. Yes, a child does count as a human. It is 6 humans per table, not 6 adults and 3 children. Don't let your kids run around the venue with reckless abandon as they run the risk of being covered in the 5 pints of lager that were almost delivered to your table. Don't give a fake name for the track and trace, especially when your ID has just been checked at the door. Don't go hopping from table to table. It is a shithouse thing to do and it fucks
everything up.
Don't turn up fucking plastered and say, I've got a booking. Your booking does not guarantee you entry. If you are 3 sheets to the wind, you will be swiftly KB'd. To summarise, obey the rules of the venue, don't be a cunt, and it'll all be fine. All jokes aside, right? Please be gentle with us on the 26th. Some of us haven't been in our venues since September, so we're going to be a little bit rusty. So please, be patient with your bar staff, be patient with your servers. This is a new experience for us all, and to say it's going to go smoothly is complete pie in the sky. It's going to be chaos, and I can't fucking wait. The 2021 Scottish elections are a month away, and if you haven't registered to vote yet, what the fuck are you playing at? Even if none of the candidates in your constituency speak to you, just go along and spoil your ballot. Draw a big cock on it, at least then you're engaging. So aye, get out there and register. Let's talk about some of the parties. You've got the SNP, who have been in power for 14 years, often displaying a united front as a position of strength. But the aftermath of the Salmond inquiry has plunged the party into a Marvel-scale civil war. Salmond, in a last-ditch effort to save his political career, is now at the helm of the Alba party. Disclaimer, if you vote for these fucking cunts, you are a weapons-grade FUD and deserve to be shot into orbit. They preach they're for independence, but their very existence does nothing but damage that goal. You've got the Labour Party, who are about as useful in Scotland as SPF 50. You've got the Lib Dems. And then you've got the Tories, whose leader is an actual linesman. An actual linesman. And that last fact should be basis enough to form an opinion on him. So, who should you vote for? Well, I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. But if you are a part of the Edinburgh Central constituency, I'll introduce you to someone who you should consider.
If I asked you for your vote, would you lend it to me? In 1973, Jean-Paul Sartre wrote a seminal essay entitled Elections, a Trap for Fools. In it, he explained why voting for bourgeois political parties is a trap, because bourgeois political parties represent only the interests of private capital. 5 decades later, and the fact that your teenage daughter thinks that selling explicit images of herself on OnlyFans is a legitimate career path perfectly illustrates the moral bankruptcy of neoliberal capitalism. The Scottish National Party are a bourgeois, neoliberal political party.
Artist, record producer, filmmaker, high B, all-round good guy and Edinburgh's favourite son, Bonnie Prince Bob, is running as an independent for Parliament. Now, you might take one look at him and hear the things he's saying and think, him? Parliament? And my answer to that is, exactly. Wouldn't that fucking shake things up a wee bit, eh? You may not agree with everything he's saying, but the issues he wants to hold the government to account for speak volumes. Like housing, over-tourism, protection of public spaces. We've come full circle. And the preservation of working class art, to name just a few. I am yet to hear from any candidates from the party political classes to speak about these issues with such passion or believability, because unlike our Bonnie Prince, they don't care for Edinburgh. They only have one goal in mind, and that is using our hometown as a rung on the ladder of their own political careers, whilst lining their pockets along the way. Still not convinced? Let's hear it for the man himself.
I cannot love someone who turns up from nowhere to announce that not only do they understand the people, the places, the streets and the culture of where I was born, where I'm from and where I continue to live better than I do, but that they should also be paid for their expert knowledge and concern for these communities. I cannot love someone like that because someone like that is an imposter. For 16 years, Angus Robertson was the MP for Moray in Banff. For 16 years, Angus Robertson sat in Westminster in a parliament his neoliberal party are apparently opposed to, and got rich, stinking filthy rich, on the gravy train of public office. Angus Robertson is the definition of a political careerist. And if Angus Robertson thinks he can turn up here in Edinburgh Central and waltz into Holyrood without a fight, then Angus Robertson is mistaken. We deserve better than this carpetbagger looking to line his pockets. So, in the forthcoming Scottish election, I am going to stand against Angus Robertson in the Edinburgh Central constituency.
Check out his YouTube channel, his Instagram and Twitter feeds, and there's also a GoFundMe page for the cause. All relevant links will be down below in the description. So if you're in the Edinburgh Central constituency, and if you're fed up of being misrepresented and disenfranchised by the multiple parties that have misruled in the past, then do yourself and your city a favour and vote Bonnie Prince Bob. Thanks for watching, folks. I've had nothing but love for all the stuff that I'm creating here, and I am humbled and grateful for all your support. It's pretty damn cool. More social commentary like this will be posted as the need arises. Until then, you can catch the Gav Plays videos and watch me shit myself publicly as I play scary video games. New videos posted daily at 3 PM. So please do hit that like and subscribe button. And if you are one of those current 66 subscribers, you are fucking sound, and I will fight anyone that says otherwise. And as always, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay weird out there, you big bunch of fucking legends.